It's 2:47 a.m. when the silence of your kitchen is broken. You're standing over the counter, watching the steam rise from a fresh cup of coffee, listening to the rhythmic lash of rain against the window pane. This is your only hour of peace, the brief window where you aren't looking over your shoulder. Then the vibration starts. It's not your personal phone, it's the burner tucked behind the false back of your spice rack. Your hand freezes midair. You know that specific vibration. It only comes from one number, a ghost line that belongs to a world most people pray doesn't exist. You pick it up. There is no greeting, no hello or sorry for the hour, just a set of GPS coordinates followed by a single word: multiple. Multiple patients, high stakes. You leave the coffee steaming on the counter. 10 minutes later, you're in your garage, sliding a heavy, nondescript black duffel bag into the trunk of a car that's been modified for speed and silence. You check the compartment under the driver's seat. The 9mm is there, loaded, safety on. You aren't a violent man by nature, but you've learned that in this business, the Hippocratic Oath is secondary to the law of survival. 20 years ago, you were the valedictorian of your residency at Johns Hopkins. Today, you are the only man in the city who can reconstruct a shattered femur or extract a hollow-point bullet without leaving a paper trail. The drive takes you to the industrial district, a wasteland of rusted corrugated metal and flickering streetlights. You pull up to a warehouse that looks abandoned, but the 3 black SUVs idling outside tell a different story. As you step out, 2 men in tailored suits, bulky enough to hide the Kevlar underneath, approach you. They don't speak. They scan you with a metal detector, their eyes cold and hollow, before nodding toward the heavy sliding door. Inside, the smell hits you instantly. It's a metallic, heavy scent that sticks to the back of your throat. Blood, lots of it. The scene is chaotic but disciplined. 3 men are sprawled across plastic tarps laid over the concrete floor. They're wearing tactical gear, shredded by gunfire. In the center of the room, sitting on a crate and smoking a cigarette, is a man whose face is on every FBI watch list in the country. He looks at you and gives a curt nod. You don't nod back. You just open your bag. You know the rules. If any of these men die on your watch, you don't leave this building. You move to the first patient, a young man, barely 20, his face pale from shock. The bullet entered through the shoulder, but the exit wound is messy. You work with a cold, mechanical precision. There is no anesthesia, there's no time for it, and the noise of a screaming man is a liability they can't afford. You pack the wound with hemostatic gauze, your fingers moving with a grace that belies the grime of the warehouse. You feel the grit of the lead against your forceps. When the bullet drops into the metal tray, the clink echoes through the silent room like a gavel. The second patient is a nightmare, a gut shot. Internal bleeding is already turning his abdomen a bruised, sickly purple. The lighting in the warehouse is dim, flickering overhead, but your eyes have spent years adapting to the dark. You have to make a choice. If you try to open him here, the infection will kill him in 48 hours. If you don't, he bleeds out in 10 minutes. You reach for the scalpel. Your hands are covered in crimson, but your heart rate doesn't even flicker. This world has stripped the empathy out of you, replacing it with a cold, functional logic. You remember the first time you saved a life in the ER. Your hands had shaken for an hour afterward. Now, you're just a technician repairing a broken machine. You clamp the artery, suction the excess blood, and begin the tedious process of internal suturing. You lose track of time. The only world that exists is the 6 inches of flesh under your blade. The third patient is the man on the crate. He isn't wounded, not really. He has a jagged graze along his forearm, a reminder of how close he came to the end. He watches you work, his eyes calculating. "What's your price, doctor?" he asks, his voice like gravel. You don't answer. In this world, the person who asks the fewest questions lives the longest. You clean his graze, wrap it in a clean bandage, and start packing your kit. As you zip the bag, the man hands you a heavy waterproof briefcase. Inside is enough untraceable cash to buy a small hospital, but you know you can never deposit it. It's blood money, destined to stay under floorboards and in safety deposit boxes. You walk back out into the rain. The SUVs are already peeling away, disappearing into the gray morning mist. You get home just as the sun begins to bleed through the clouds. You scrub your hands in the sink, watching the red water swirl down the drain. The soap gets the blood off, but the smell, that heavy copper scent, never truly leaves your nose. You walk back into the kitchen. Your coffee is stone cold. You pour it out and start a fresh pot. In 2 hours, you'll put on a clean white coat and walk into your private practice. You'll smile at the socialites and the businessmen. You'll write prescriptions for blood pressure and high cholesterol, and you'll pretend to be the man they think you are. But as you look at the burner phones sitting on the table, you realize the truth. You are no longer a healer. You are a secret keeper. You are part of the machinery of the underworld, and the system never lets its most valuable tools go. The phone doesn't ring, but you don't put it away. You just sit there, waiting for the next life you'll have to save in the dark.